Welcome to Calm Your Mind, part of the Anxiety Answers training series presented by me, Jessica Honig. I'm a mental health clinician with a personal and professional passion to face and engage with anxiety with a bit more grace. It's been a lifelong challenge for me, having gone through personal trainings through the Boston University Center for Anxiety Disorders in my 20s, developing a practice expertise in anxiety and mindfulness in a way to sit with, embrace, and learn what anxiety is trying to communicate to us in the healthier stages before it gets too intense or affects our daily lives. My friends, I get it. The world is wild and we are raw. Let's gain clarity, confidence, and consistency in our lives together. And clear your mind, and prosperity will follow. This course, you'll gain the following: some mindfulness and relaxation skills, productive thinking patterns, shifting from or catching ourselves in those negative spirals, and reframing, letting go of what I call mind pollution, those shoulda, coulda, wouldas. Templates for organization, how to figure out what to focus on now and why. And intentional living techniques for sustainable growth. Why sustainable? Because I think we don't need to work so hard to access an improved quality of life as soon as possible, for as often as possible.
Hey y'all, Jess Honig. I wanted to directly thank you from my office here for tuning in to the Calm Your Mind training. I hope that you get out of it what I have put into it: dedicated personal and clinical experiences to gain clarity, confidence, and consistency for your life, no matter the personal or long-standing intergenerational anxiety, vibrations, and difficulties that you've faced. Anxiety is a very human part of our lives. It's built into us when we care and fear things, so much that we care about and fear these days. And I hope that you can learn to embrace anxiety as a communicator and to take back and feel empowered to have a calm mind, a confident mind, as often as possible. Welcome to the first of hopefully several in a series to get anxiety answers that are meaningful and useful for you.
So, a calm mind is possible even with anxiety. Because anxiety, as I was saying, is just part of the human experience. We think, therefore, we get nervous sometimes. A calm mind is anything but boring. It is not absent of anxiety. A calm mind is really akin to the surfer out there in the ocean. Its exquisite ebbs and flows, capable of zooming in on what matters most, tapping into the wisest decisions to make our mark, to ride the waves. A calm mind is a mind capable of being responsive rather than in an autopilot, reactive, super jacked up, going from 0 to 60, doing things that we might regret because in this moment we are present and we are calm enough to make that least self sabotaging choice. It's an evolving practice. If anyone thinks that they will learn to surf the first time they try to hop on that board, well, it's possible, I guess, with really focused intuition. But most of us need lessons and coaching. Lesson one, my friend, it comes from Zen, Buddhism, Eastern philosophy. It isn't really about religion when we anchor into mindfulness. Mindfulness comes and ebbs through much of world religions. It's really about a philosophy. First lesson: I often think of is to dump everything out that you knew or you hold on to as absolute knowledge. Blacks and whites, all or nothing thinking. Dump everything out, and then you will learn to be again. Being. Being, I often say and define, is just breath, that calm, still, quiet place. As the lovely Dr. Saltzman wrote about, in a still, quiet place. It's breath, and it's our senses. I see, I hear, I taste, I touch, I smell. Many of us, however, have disconnected in the year now 2023, this reacclimation from the time warp of sort of post pandemic life that many of us feel like will never be the same again. It's inflation outpacing income, many of us tired, re entering the hustle bustle with some resistance. For good reason, because the pace of a 21st century life, we often end up saying to ourselves, what happened to me? I used to be playful, hopeful, focused, fulfilled, healthy. Yeah, I ask those questions on the regular myself. Anxiety from these forced, hurried, shoulds-a-palooza mind pollutions. Again, mind pollution being that term for the critical voice from yourself, from others, that judges rather than inspires, puts down rather than empowers, assumes rather than is open. Well, these anxious seeds emerge initially in the forms of thoughts or feelings and sensations. They get us restless, unfocused. Playfulness, we lose in that first stage, this way of exploring life without demands or outcomes. We're just silly, full of being present because we're just exploring. Without it, we're part AI, we're part rigid robot, or withdrawn depression. Hope, hope, when we lose that thing that is the imagination and the dream, the possibility, so comes the skepticism. Focus. Focus is choosing what we wish to tend to show up to as many of our senses are able. Without it, we are unfocused, and some stimuli or boss or social media sweeps us out to a deep, dark sea. Many of us become disconnected from fulfillment, purposefulness being its cousin. Purposefulness and fulfillment intertwine in what wakes us up in the morning, lights us up. When we are fulfilled and purposeful, purposeful is that thing that we do, fulfilled is doing it to a good enough with a sense of positive feedback and reward state. Without this duo, think of underpaid work, you put too many hours in, a colicky baby without sleep, a supercritical partner, and your supercritical self-talk. When will we ever be good enough for ourselves? Well, I hope we shift that today. Remember how you used to be healthy. With health, we have zest and vitality. We're able to show up for what matters and what I call a whole health trio. Our outlook looking promising. Our circumstances are not too overwhelming or jam-packed. And our physical state is good enough, and our hygiene, the way we take care of our body and our sleep, is intact as well. If you feel like you're off center in any of these areas, well, it's no surprise. Anxiety starts to creep in to say, hmm, maybe I have a thought that I should be more on top of things. Let me tighten my schedule. Let me try to do more. Maybe we force ourselves to keep going through the motions, even though we're miserably unfulfilled in our professional lives. Maybe our health is really taking a toll because we're sleepless. Well, let's begin again because we all deserve calm, vivid inspiration. A calm mind is the anchor to shifting forward. How do we do this? Well, we start with a reset. We let go of past regrets, future what ifs. That's like a stretchy rubber band about to snap us. And we just decide that we're going to start to enter into present moment vibes. Well, how on earth do we enter into present moment vibes? The very act of entering into this present mind is what calms us down. Calming our mind is an action, it's a verb. And it's a three-step process. I call it the MGG technique, the acronym inspired by my spouse's initials, Michael Gregory Gross. M stands for moment by moment. The first G stands for grounding through our senses. And in the next slide, you'll see that we're going to be aiming for a good enough life. In moment by moment living, we are finding the beauty that a moment can be as short or as long as you want to make it. In the AA or NA 12-step method, the program, they have a built-in energy of a fresh start. It's a beautiful energy of saying, okay, one day at a time. We don't even need to wait till tomorrow. We don't even need our moments to be that long. A new moment can be even shorter. A new moment can start right now. And practicing in this mindset, if we had a difficult conversation with someone, if, like I did a few minutes ago, if I little off center, can't access my words as efficiently as I'd like to, it's a fresh start. It's a new moment. If I jump into a new moment and I am more present with it, I am more likely to get more out of this moment. If I'm still thinking about the past moment, beating myself up for mistakes, well, I'm still distracted and I'm that less likely to A, have a calm mind because I'm already jacked up, I'm not calm, and I won't be as present. A present mind, in many ways, has the greatest capacity for a calm mind. So, if we need to jump into a new moment, we can do that. Similarly, if you want to luxuriate in a moment, if you're having a very soulful, intimate partner moment, just a joyful, sense based time at the beach, extend that moment. Now, after moment by moment living, we want to ground through our senses. So, this is the second of a three-part trio in how to have present vibes in the most calming way. So, in the second part, living moment by moment, how are we living moment by moment? We ground into our five senses, what we see, hear, taste, touch, smell. It quiets the volume on the shouldsers in our mind, that critical voice. And it comes also from a school of thought from trauma theory and psychology that we can anchor ground ourselves, help to calm ourselves down as humans in our nervous system and our mind if we just think more about our senses, tactile things, touch a table, really swallow that soothing, cool beverage. Simply being with our senses, grounding through our senses. I see, hear, taste, touch, smell. Take a moment to do that with me now. I'm going to pause and mm, enjoy my beverage. Do something soothing through a favorite sense or a couple of favorite senses. Take about 5 more seconds to pay attention through a sense or two or all five. Well, congratulations. You're 2/3 of the way through a calming mind technique, the MGG technique. You're living moment by moment. How are you living moment by moment? You're grounding through your senses. And voila, the third G, we're letting our life be good enough. To calm our mind for any reason, at any moment, and even if one of our senses is picking up something really stinky nearby, of course, we can pivot and lean into the most satisfying, positive sense. But we also just want to let ourselves aim for good enough. Let that moment be good enough on the plane to wherever. Might be a little stinky, but maybe you're above the clouds and seeing the world from a refreshing point of view. As we aim to let a moment be good enough, it allows us to be productive rather than compulsive. Good enough is focused but not obsessive. We take breaks, we take frequent breaks. If we fall off that balance beam of life of focus, it's a slip of the ankle and we get back on to keep moving forward. In our performance, it's about sustainability. It's not about a peak moment. It is process over outcome. In the beautiful Japanese philosophy of wabi sabi, they honor the grace, the beauty, the calming energy of imperfection, impermanence, and nature. That's a lot like good enough energy. Right? If we walk through a lush, unmanicured forest, is that any less good enough or gorgeous or calming than a pristinely planned and manicured Italian garden? I argue not. So you down with MGG? I am down with MGG. It's a wonderful kind of quick go-to in how to reset your mindset. In any given moment, we're living moment by moment. How are we doing it? Mostly through our senses, and we're letting that energy be good enough. And then we rinse, repeat. It cycles back again and again. Before we shift into the second technique I'm going to offer to calm our mind today, I offer a little cleansing palette in between. This quote from Meister Eckhart, historic, I think, the Judeo-Christian, I think the Christian background. Beautiful philosophy here. I need to be silent for a while. Worlds are forming in my heart. I need to be silent for a while. Worlds are forming in my heart. How radiant that is. The energy of a pause. Pause, Pema Chodron says, is breaking up energy. It's a real action. When we open ourselves to a calm, quiet reset, it is then, detoxifying energy, we can begin. to move forward. Clovering, we've arrived at clovering. It's prosperity. It is. The cycle itself is prosperity. And we're going to get to that in a moment. And it is a prosperous energy to calm our minds because it awakens clarity, confidence, and consistency. It's my happy place. It emerged from a period in my own dark times to anchor into something healthier during acute postpartum. I was in a miserable, paper pushing healthcare job. I was sleepless, resenting my work, afraid of the dark, flipping on my in laws on the regular, resenting my spouse, resenting my kid, resenting my life, and beginning to drink way too much. So, my spouse and I began to try out some new parent counseling. And after perspiring, after a short, like 4-step up walkway to the therapist's office, everything was ultra air conditioned, but I was sweating bullets, oozing anxiety, disquiet, an uncalm mind. And we sat down. The first thing that therapist Sandy Shamansky asked us to do was to draw a flower, something like you see here, about how we spend our time regarding personal, couple, family, and community endeavors. And my postpartum superhighway brain just wanted to fold up the paper and throw it back at her and scream, "This will not help." I was 2 doodles from the door when Shamansky made her last request. Her posture was erect, her tone was steady, and she kind of got that smug look like, I got this, let's just keep moving through it. We were asked to define the specific tasks and time allotted to each of these petals. It started to click for me. I realized I'd been spending time seeking external praise, so overwhelmed and misaligned, far, far away, stretched in a snappy rubber band ball sort of way. So stretched away from what my heart longed for. A centering space and a slower pace to just be. I had no idea how to care for myself, and it showed. My baby napped. I did not nap. Instead, I was composing thank you notes and corresponding with the outside world. I was cleaning the kitchen for an in law visit. I trimmed the hedges to please my neighbors. These choices were stretching me thin. Busy, busy, busy anxiety. My mind was anything but calm. The remainder of the session might have been in a foreign language because really all I took from that session was this foundational flower that became my inspiration for clovering. This is the Shamansky inventory you see here, where she had us draw a 4-petal flower inspired by Venn diagramming. We labeled each petal, and I encourage you to do this, do an organizing, clarifying inventory of your own life. Look at selfhood, family, career, community. Identify through bullet points the time and tasks for each petal. Acknowledge how you spend that time and get curious about it. So, inspired, I started to draw these 4 petals on the regular in the morning. Start my day. This simple format started to relax my mind. I noticed simplifying my priorities: selfhood, family, community, career. The simpler my priorities, the calmer my mind, the calmer my household. Lesson learned. The simpler my priorities, the calmer my mind, the calmer the household. Day after day, the lesson reinforced itself. I accrued sleep, and mornings opened up for me. I was organized, things were simpler. The cycle continued. A ritualized solution started to emerge. Welcome to clovering. It's a four-step process. It's a clarity building stage. We draw a four-leaf Venn diagram. You can do it right now. The three or four things that matter most to you right now. And step two, the confidence building stage of clovering. Just bullet point one or two productive actions or a positive way you can think about doing something today for your family. I'm going to, in a productive action, actually shop for a fresh meal with fresh ingredients. Positive thinking, my family and our budget is worth spending towards healthy nutrients. In the consistency stage, we start to show up in a routine way for these three or four things that matter most. And eventually, if we're clear about what we're showing up for, we're confident, shown through productive actions of positive thinking, and in a consistent routine way, like I'm going to shop for food on my way home from work or once a week on Sundays, plan a menu. That starts to become what I call natural habit.
Hello, I want to explain how very simple clovering can be. Got my co-host here, Tess and Jess. I created clovering to really simplify our lives as parents, as busy humans. And the first step is to bring clarity to what matters most to you. In a visual of a 3, 4, 5 leaf clover Venn diagram, identify each leaf as a big ticket area that you want to grow over the next day, month, whatever period of time that you want to devote this clover to. I found postpartum, especially, and with a new pup, doing a clover on the daily helps me to clarify. So step one, identify what matters most to you. Step two, for each of the clover leaves, come up with a productive action or positive thought that's going to grow each of those areas. This is the confidence building. So what are the productive actions, the things you'll do, or the positive thoughts? And the final step of clovering is the consistency building stage, taking those things that you'll do, or ways you'll talk to yourself, into consistency through routines. That's how often, in association to what, and with some sort of reward, because as BJ Fogg says with his beautiful tiny habits, we need to grow rewards as well. That's it.
I began to reset, gaining clarity in what I wanted and needed to show up for. I held resumed confidence for productive and positive living. I consistently showed up for what mattered, and I was doing it more through my senses. Everything was starting to feel more natural. Voila, clovering, my own dang good fortune. And it created calm. I was checking in on the regular. I was acknowledging my life, what mattered most. I was listening to my deepest wants and needs. And I was mindful. I was really acknowledging I wasn't trying to people please. I wasn't polluted by what I should do or critical thoughts. And it produced calm. Whatever happens with your circumstances, that new job or kid or loss, no matter the state or pattern of your physical health today, no matter if you think lastful right now, be reflect, watch this video again, practice some of these techniques, the MGG. Try out clovering, make it your own. I just want my clients to make and my audience to make what matters to you something for you. This isn't an exact art or science to replicate. It's inspiration for your best life. I hope that you take a pause and inventory and look for the core parts of your life that matter most in one specific productive action or positive thought in an MGG sort of way, moment by moment, through your senses, good enough, so that you can start to refill that glass, half full into something fuller in a clear bucket of joy that your life deserves. Thank you so much for viewing this inaugural training for Anxiety Answers. Drop a comment or a like, please, so I know that you appreciate the content. And also reach out to me through the comments or direct message or contact through at Jess Honig via Instagram or jessicahonig.com, or check back soon for further trainings and community through YouTube.